What's up, everybody? Today I'm talking about the top 5 biggest snakes from the Power universe. Make sure to put your list in the comments and make sure to leave in the comments any major snake moves that I forgot about. I also have an honorable mention that I will get to at the end of my list and let you know why exactly they didn't make the list. So at number 5 I have Kane Tahata. Kane Tahata only been around for 2 seasons, but definitely a real shady, snaky type of character so far from what we have learned about him. He tried having Tariq killed by bars behind his family's back out of jealousy. He killed Sergeant Ramirez, his family's police protection, out of anger, and that was kind of out of jealousy too. He robbed Tariq's and Braden's product that was in Braden's parents' garage and replaced it with sugar so he could become the plug. So this actually manipulated not just Tariq and Braden, it manipulated Monet. He manipulated Drew to get through. He took Drew's shooting. So this was a real big move he made right there to become the plug. Really low down and snaky, but honestly I could say it was a good move for what he was trying to get to. And this is the one that actually places Kane on the list. When he planted Detective Ramirez badge in Tariq's dorm so Tariq would go down for the double murder of Detective Ramirez and Jabari Reynolds. Now this is the one that actually, the other 3 things were definitely snake moves, but we got other characters who've done bigger snake things than that. So this is the actual one that put him on, that got him the number 5 spot on the list when he planted that badge in Tariq's dorm room so he would go down. Man, that's snaky. That is shady. So that got him on the list. And the next move that I got him with, and the final move from Kane on my list, was he was the inside man in the Mecca robbery when they stole all Mecca's product and they stole the diamond, whatever it was, the really expensive necklace or whatever he was planning to give to Monet that Tariq gave to Davis McCain to pawn. And during this, he also set Lil Guap up to be killed by Drew. Not saying Lil Guap didn't deserve to be killed, but Lil Guap was going into this thing trusting Kane Tahata and thinking everything was all good. And next thing you know, he getting bodied by Drew. Kane Tahata, only 2 seasons in, definitely could see some more snake material out of Kane Tahata moving forward. We'll have to see. We can also see him turn somebody who ain't so, because only really one major move, like I said, that was super snaky. That move with Mecca being his inside man was definitely shady too. We'll have to see how this character develops moving forward. At number 4 on my list, I have Tasha St Patrick. Before we ever saw Tasha, we learned that she helped Ghost set up Kanan, which put him in prison for 10 years. She was the woman who made the anonymous call about the tail light being out or whatever she called about. She also, in season 1, maybe up to season 2 of Power, she had a relationship with Sean behind Ghost's back before she ever even knew about Angela. And even once she found out about Angela, they kept having the relationship. And this is a little different than Ghost with Angela, because Angela, this was someone he knew from high school, his high school sweetheart. We might get to Ghost on this list. We might get to talk about him though also. But as for now, we're talking about Tasha and why this is different than from what he did. That was with Angela, that was his high school sweetheart. With Sean, that was Ghost's driver. And that was definitely some kind of snake hit. The way she was doing that all the way from the beginning was definitely some snaky stuff. And then she was gonna run off with Sean and take Ghost's kids with her. So basically Sean would be their daddy and Ghost would have his kids just gone. Definitely snaky business to run off with a man's kids. Another thing she did was she called Tommy when Ghost was doing one of his snaky things that he did. She called Tommy to warn Tommy about Ruiz. But so Tommy went ahead and canceled Christmas on Ruiz, said a bunch of stuff he should definitely not have said, because he did not know that Ruiz was wearing a wire. And this caused problems for Tommy and Ghost throughout the entire Power series, all the way until the finale, when Tommy supposedly got the last copy from Proctor's daughter and ate it or whatever he did with it. So it caused a lot of problems making that call, not knowing all the information. She also hooked up with Ghost's lawyer Terry Silver. I mean, I know they were kind of apart by this time, but god dang, man, that's some scandalous stuff. Alright, she went ahead. She already had set Kanan up once. She also set Kanan up again with Angela, this time also with Tariq, so Kanan would take the fall for the Ray murder, and he died. So she set Kanan up twice. She also made a plan with Tariq to kill Ghost. I'm not saying he didn't deserve to get killed or whatever, but asking a son to be an accomplice in the father's murder, she could have went to Quentin Wallace or something like that for this, instead of getting her own son involved in his father's murder. And then speaking of Quentin Wallace, she tried framing Quentin Wallace for Ghost murder, which caused her major problems moving forward. She should have just got rid of the gun, put it in the ocean or something, and let it be. Let the cards play out. They ain't got no camera, they ain't got no evidence that you or Tariq was involved. Shh. Not smart. And then she lied on Tommy Egan to get out of prison and blamed him for Ghost's murder. Tasha has done some super shady things, but you gotta remember that was throughout 6 seasons. And I'm gonna say this: Estelle Green, Tasha's mom, told Tasha this: "You're not smart enough to do this on your own," saying she needed James around. Tasha needed Ghost. I'm putting her at 4, and I'm passing off a lot of the stuff she did out of ignorance, just not being, street savvy enough to really play the way she should have did it. So, but pretty snaky nonetheless. Tasha St Patrick. At number 3, we got Andre Coleman. And I got him at number 3. He could easily have been number 1, but we got to kind of look at what the genesis of his shadiness, and that was because he was under pressure from Kanan Stark. Kanan Stark was threatening Andre Coleman's daughter, then Cooper Saxe threatened his daughter, took his daughter away, and then Ghost, framed him for murder. So before I get into Andre Coleman, a lot of the shady stuff he did was honestly justified. So he played both sides with Ghost and Kanan. He helped Ghost set up 2 club owners to get arrested. One of the biggest shady things he did was he set up Julio to die so he could take over as distro for Tommy's organization. And once he took over for Julio, he was not done. He then stole, either though short-lived, he stole Tommy's organization from him. He stole all his premieres and took them with him to go work with the Jimenez. So honestly, a lot of the snaky stuff Dre was doing was just him playing the game better than Ghost, playing the game better than Kanan or Tommy. He gave Tariq the address of where to find Ray so he wouldn't have to pay him. So a lot of people forgot about that, why he didn't give Tariq a fake address or the wrong address or nothing like that. He gave Tariq the exact address knowing something was going to go down. Either Ray Ray was going to have to shoot him and have to get out of town quicker so he wouldn't have to give him his money, or Tariq, like it played out, would kill Ray Ray so Dre didn't have to end up paying him. So it was a win-win for Dre. That he should have definitely gave Tariq the wrong address. I understand Tariq had a gun pointed at it. He could have, like Ghost said, gave him the wrong address, anything. Then he started, this is when he got super shady. He started, not if he wasn't already shady enough by this point, he started working with Cooper Saxe to set up Ghost to get arrested. He went with Ghost into that girl's apartment, Suarez, I can't think of her name, but yeah, he followed Ghost into a girl's apartment, but the girl from episode 1 of season 1, but Ghost gave her the money and got out of there, so when the feds showed up, they were like, it was a no-go. He also put Terry Silver's badge for Cooper Saxe into Ghost hotel room. After that, he set up Alicia Jimenez and Crystal Ball to get arrested. He also lied to Blanca Rodriguez that he saw Ghost kill Terry Silver. Now, we know Ghost did kill Terry Silver, but Andre Coleman sure enough wasn't there. He's not telling him to stop or whatever. And there you have it. Andre Coleman sure enough could have been at the top of this list, but I got some slimy characters in my top 2. And I gotta say this about Andre Coleman. He sure enough had some of the best kills on the show. When he stabbed that dude on the corner in front of Alphonse in broad daylight, boy, I think that might be my favorite kill on Power. That was woo! I love that scene. Oh, that was my favorite Andre Coleman scene for sure. Then when they started doing episodes 611 through 615, they started out with Andre Coleman getting the first episode, 611, and I thought Ghost, when they moved forward, might be about Andre Coleman moving forward, the spinoff. But I'm glad it's about Tariq, but I wouldn't have minded. I'm not one person who hated Andre Coleman. I did want him to die at certain times and think he was shady, but I ain't end up hating him like some people did. That gets me into number 2, and that is Raquel Thomas. Only 2 seasons of Raising Kanan, and she's already number 2 on the list. And I'm gonna have to say, she's so high on my list. It's like when you talk about sports with Michael Jordan and LeBron James, or whoever your favorite 2 players is. You say Michael Jordan is number 1, but LeBron James is number 1A, or Michael Jordan's number 1 and Kobe Bryant's number 1A or 1B, whatever you want to call it. And this is how I think about Raquel Thomas. I got my number 1 character, my slimiest, shadiest, snakiest character, number 1, but after that I got Raquel Thomas number 2, but she could literally be 1A, 1B because of how slimy she is. She lied to Kanan about who his father is. Kanan thought for years his father was Death Con. She lied to Kanan's father, Malcolm Howard, that Kanan was his son. That she denied that Kanan was his son and said it was Death Con's son. He didn't think anything about it until later on when he saw Kanan's birthday. She had D-Wiz killed. Only a 15-year-old kid. Had him killed by Lulu. So he would take the heat for old boy and not Kanan. I can't think of his name. Buck 20. So he would take the heat for Buck 20 and not Kanan. Then she did the snaky, super snaky thing. She set up Kanan to shoot his own father so the truth would not come out. And this isn't like a Tariq situation where he shot his father willingly, knowing it is his father and everything. She just told him, this guy's threatening our existence. You got to take him out. So Kanan showed up there not knowing he was going to go trying to kill his dad. But he got nervous. He wasn't ready for the job yet and shot Howard one time in the chest, and Howard survived. But oh boy, that was snaky. She snitched on Unique's shipment in season 1 to have his crew get arrested and have his shipment taken down. She also got this information from one of her plug's people by paying him off to go to greener pastures. And by next time she showed up, the plug said that he was in greener pastures. I don't know if that means he got found out and they buried him in greener pastures, if he actually retired. I would like to know if how that actually played out, because I can't think of dude's name. All Buddy said was he went to greener pastures, so we don't know exactly what that means. She also set Unique up to take the fall for Howard's shooting, and hoping it would be a kill shot and he would go down for life. Maybe even get the electric chair or whatever from back in those days. Might still had that. So killing a cop, oh boy, that wouldn't have been good for Unique if Howard would have actually died. So I mean, yeah, that was super snaky. On top of having your son do it, you're trying to set somebody else up to go to prison for life. Man. And then we don't know what she actually was the informant about, but we do know that she was Howard's informant when she was younger. So she could have set up Marvin, because he was running things before her, DEFCON, or High Post. Or possibly she was the informant that snitched on all 3 of these characters. But I guarantee she snitched on at least one of them. So there you go, Raquel Thomas. Oh, I'm not finished with that. I also got Lulu on here for her. She's always manipulating Lulu. Man, she just been manipulating him. Basically, the biggest thing she's done recently was she manipulated Lulu into killing Crown Camacho, and then they both killed Cartier for Reed, so that way she would take over as the 50-50 partner for Bulletproof Records, something Lulu definitely did not want her involved in. And then we got that Howard quote, just to say how shady Raquel Thomas actually is. The Detective Howard quote from season 1, talking with Unique, that he said, Raquel Thomas taking over for High Post was the worst thing that could have happened to the South Side. There are rules to this, and Raquel Thomas either doesn't know them or doesn't care to follow them. So that just shows you Raquel Thomas don't play by no rules. And getting me to number 1, the biggest snake in the entire Power universe. The man who don't care about nobody but himself. Ghost, Mr. James St. Patrick himself. Yes, sir. He was the main person either though Tasha was involved, he was the main one who set up Kanan to go to jail for 10 years. He also set up 2 club owners to go to jail, planting a couple kilos in their nightclub just because what'd they do? Steal a DJ from him or something like that? DJ Taj, I think is what they did to him. So they stole his DJ. So he made sure to plant a couple bricks in a club that they went to. How many years you think those 2 club owners got for those 2 bricks that was in their club? At least like 5 years, probably 5 to 10. Golly. All right. Then he set up Tommy and Lobos to get arrested by Angela. He played Angela because he was trying to get rid of Lobos, and Tommy just happened to be a casualty in this arrest also, even though Tommy was shortly released. Ghost also made a police report about Tasha's daycare. His own wife, still at the time, trying to get her to go down for selling drugs out of her daycare. He also Ghost murdered Jason Minchin, but he set up Andre Coleman to go down for it. So he set up Andre Coleman to go to jail for life, for a lot of time, for murder, for a crime he didn't even do. Not saying Andre Coleman ain't committed a lot of crimes, but that crime he was actually innocent for. Like Tariq said about Angela and Ghost. She arrested him for the one thing he was actually innocent of. I don't know exactly that was word for word, but you know that's what Tariq said about Angela. She arrested Dad for the one thing he didn't even do. The one thing he didn't do. Alright, so those are all the snitching Ghost did. Because I mean, in talking to cops and setting people up to go to jail, that's just something you don't do. That's just one of the rules in the game. Howard was talking about. I mean, that just can't. If you're in the game, and you can't be sending people to jail like that, because I mean, there got to be some type of rules in this game, and sending people to jail that's a violation of that's just a violation of everything, every street code there is. So I said Tommy got out of jail quick after he was arrested and set up by Ghost to go to jail. How did Ghost do that? By stealing evidence from Angela to get Tommy out of jail. The picture that was drawn up with the help of Isabel Ruiz, he stole that from Angela's apartment and gave it to Proctor to get Tommy out of jail, which could have cost Angela her job. On top of that, he killed 4 plugs, 3 of them his own plugs. He killed, and these were some of the biggest players in the game in the entire world. Talk about Mexican cartels and things like that. He killed Lobos, Milan, Diego Jimenez, even though he wasn't the one who actually killed him, and that wasn't his connect. He was the one who set Diego Jimenez up with Andre Coleman to die, and he sent Kanan in there to do the job. And then, like I've already talked about, he killed Jason Minchin. So some of the biggest players in the game, Ghost took him down. And on top of that, he killed his entire network, I believe at the end of season 2, just so they couldn't identify him to the feds. Not the fact that the feds were tracking these guys down to talk to him like that or anything. He just didn't want to take no chances, so he killed his entire network. And this isn't really too snaky, but it is snaky at the same time. He got into politics and got that position that he was trying to go for of lieutenant governor with Loretta Walsh by setting Rashard Tate up on a loudspeaker, saying some things that he probably didn't want to be heard saying publicly, and Ghost was in on that being basically made public. And I'm sure Ghost has done a lot of more snaky things throughout his 6 seasons on Power. It's just all that talking to the cops and getting people innocent people arrested and stuff. That puts him definitely at the top of the list for me as the number 1 snake in the Power universe. And I said before I got started, I had an honorable mention that I wanted to get to at the end of the show, and I'll start with that now, and that is Jannard Sampson. If we had just one more season of Jannard Sampson on Force, he might have cracked this list instead of Kane Tahata. Then we got Monet and Diana Tahata. The Tahata family in general are just pretty snaky. Drew, not too bad, but Monet and Diana, I'm telling you, if Cade wouldn't have planted that badge on Tariq, Monet would have been my number 5 on this list. And we got Cooper Saxe, where he easily could have been top 5 on this list, but honestly, he's a cop, so we already expect this type of behavior from him. And then we got Kanan Stark, who definitely could be on this list, but I want you to think about this. Everything he did was out of revenge for Ghost setting him up to go to prison for 10 years. And in my opinion, Kanan is a lot more of a wolf than he is a snake, meaning he is a lot more likely to do something right in your face than to do some snaky things behind your back, even though we know he's capable of doing that too. And we do know that Kanan is not a snitch. He is definitely never going to snitch. That's not something he do, because when Sean came there and said, did you set Uncle Tommy up to go, when Sean came there to his shop or whatever it was he was at to confront Kanan about Tommy going to jail, did you set Tommy up to go to jail? That was you who set him up, right? And Kanan told him straight up, I'm not no snitch. That was probably your Uncle Ghost, who like he did me. So we know Kanan ain't no snitch. So there you have it. That's my top 5 biggest snakes from the Power Universe. Leave your thoughts in the comments.